Influencer. I hate that word. Hey guys, welcome back. It's Mika from Yes Please Planning. In this video, I'm going to vlog about some of my planner life thoughts and what's going on with me in terms of planner stuff. I've been avoiding this video. I feel like what I have to say could benefit some people in the same way that some planner friends in the community have shared similar thoughts and it's benefited me. Just to know that I'm not the only one thinking about these kinds of things. I haven't been doing a whole lot of planning lately. I've really been journaling more just because that has been a better way for me to get out my thoughts onto paper and to move forward. It's been hard for me to do any kind of planning if I am not clear on what I'm thinking and feeling and what I want for myself. So anyway, I'm going to insert some clips of me journaling about this same stuff just for the sake of variety and you not staring at my face the whole time. Nothing decorative. I don't know when I'm going to be doing more super decorative stuff, but this is more important to me right now than that. So that's what I'm bringing to you, and I hope that you can benefit from it in some way. I don't even really know where to begin, so I'll just start by saying I have been feeling an extreme lack of fulfillment with this planner stuff, and I know a lot of people go through it. And I've told this story before, but originally when I joined the planner community, I started a planner account thinking that I would just do it for a few weeks or a few months and then get the whole planner stuff out of my system and move on with my life. I've always used a planner, but it wasn't something that I wanted to make pretty or share or anything like that. In fact, when I very first started, I thought that I would be a very, very minimal planner. And it just spiraled, and over the years it got out of control. For me, I went way off the top and lost some of what really mattered to me, and so I had to really step back over the past year and regroup. I'm sitting here trying to figure out where do I even start. My mind is all over the place, but I guess I'll start with this. I'll start with the influencer thing. I know I'm not the only one. I hate that word. It drives me crazy. It feels sleazy. Just to be honest, when the first time I heard it, I was just like, what? Ew. And then when someone referred to me as an influencer, it didn't sit well. It's never sat well. I don't want to offend anybody. I'm trying to reframe my thinking in terms of what that word can mean to me. There's a negative connotation around this word influencer. We're all influencers, to some degree. The problem with the way that word is used now and what it means is that people have become product pushers. It's not that being an influencer in and of itself is a negative thing. I think that the word influencer right now, it's just being used to mean somebody who helps another company sell a product. And there's nothing inherently bad with that. That's really just marketing. But I don't feel good about being the person who just makes you want to buy stuff. In fact, sometimes I will, I'll do a video or do posts about certain products, and then I'll hear people I know say, oh yeah, when I saw you post that, I knew that I had to buy it. And, so they went and they bought this thing that they already have 10 of. I love all the things and I want to share all the things. And when certain products come across my desk, I'm happy to share them, but I don't want people to rush out and just go buy stuff that they don't need, won't use, will just, sit there and they'll hoard them, or they'll try to change their whole, planning system just to accommodate this new product that they didn't need in the first place. That is not what I'm about. And I started to feel that some of the things that I was promoting was contributing to that. And so I'm ambivalent, because on the one hand, I feel like we're all adults and we should be responsible enough to say, okay, that's a really cool item, that's super cute, but no, I don't need it, no, I don't want it. However, that's just not how it works, is it? We know enabler, like, that's our thing. We know that when we see this thing, we want it. We just want it. And the strongest of us just cave. And we get to this point where we have all this stuff and it starts controlling our lives. The word influencer isn't going away. So I figured, let me try to reframe this word for myself. And what do I want that word to mean to me? And what kind of influencer? If I'm going to be an influencer, then I need to do it in a way that is socially responsible. It's not about like buy all the products. That doesn't mean I'm going to stop sharing certain products that I like and that I stand behind. What's more important to me is to inspire you, to teach you, to help you grow. If I'm going to influence someone, I'd rather influence them to be a better version of themselves and to live their best lives than to feed into this hyper-consumerism thing that is really unhealthy. So I think that's one of the biggest things that is problematic right now for me with the planner community. I mean, it's always kind of been that way. I remember when I first joined the planner community, there were some people who had been in the planner community for a while and they were leaving, or they had left and they came back, and they were talking about how they didn't like the way the planner community was going. And I still hear those same words today. And I think a lot of it has to do with this hyper-consumerism of just buy, acquire. And I'm not even talking about like, let's all be minimalist. Like, that's not my deal at all. I like stuff, if you can't tell. But not to the point where it's controlling our lives and we're consumed with, I gotta have it. Like, I know I am not the only one who's spent hours searching for a certain product, who has hit up 4 Michaels or Hobby Lobby trying to find a certain, product from a new release. Like, that's not, no, that's, I am no longer about that life. It's fun, I think, sometimes, but it's gotten out of control. I remember a time when I went to Michael's just because I was in the habit of going to Michael's several times a week. Fortunately and unfortunately, there's a Michael's very close to my house. In fact, there's a Michael's, Hobby Lobby, and Joann, and now Tuesday Morning, Burlington. So many stores within a 10-minute drive. That's literally one of the reasons why I bought my house here. To have access to it, but not to live in these places. But I remember going to Michael's, and because that was just my thing after work, then go hit up Michael's. And I would just, I would buy something. Or I would say, okay, I'm just gonna go browse, do a little retail therapy. Doesn't have to mean that I buy anything, but inevitably I buy something. Or I'll walk through the store thinking, you don't need anything right now. You have everything you need. That was even like my mantra for a while. You have everything you need. You have everything you need. And I would cave. I would buy the littlest, stupidest thing. It would be cute, but just not necessary. And I remember certain days I would walk out of the store with my bag of 1 item or 10 items, and I would sit in my car, and I would just be like I would just put my head down, and I'd be like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this to myself? But I could not stop. And so I had to take a huge step back, and I don't know, I had to ask myself a bunch of questions, like, why are you buying these things? What value is this bringing to your life? Are you getting it because you really want it, or are you getting it because having it makes you feel better? Why does having it make you feel better? Are you trying to just belong in the group? Like, you got to pay to play, and so you got to buy these things if you're going to be a part of the planner community. I just finally got to the point where, and I still mess up, a little bit here and there, but I got to the point where I just said, you know what? I have way more than I need, hence all the destashing that I've been doing lately. And I don't want this stuff to have control over me, and I want to appreciate the things that I have, use the things that I have, value the things that I have, and have these things add value to my life versus just causing me angst and anxiety. I haven't figured out fully how I'm going to transition and what exactly that means concretely, but that is kind of where I'm headed. Perfection. So let's talk about PR and design teams, and really more creative design teams for me. There's a really good chance that you found my account from me doing something creative. And so creativity isn't going anywhere. I have been on several different design teams, creative teams over the years. I say over the years, it's only been like 3 or 4 years, but that's like lifetimes in the planner world. And so what tends to happen, at least with creative teams, is the companies will select people who they feel can present their product in a certain way that will inspire people to use their products, to buy their products. And I was really happy to be someone who, honored to be selected, I guess, for some of these teams. And so I created with pride, I created with enthusiasm, but the unfortunate I want to say that I'm a semi-perfectionist, because I'm looking around and there's a hot mess all in front of me. The perfectionist in me took it overboard, and I just started creating. I wasn't creating for me. I was creating for the thrill of, people are going to like this. And I don't know when that came about, but I don't like it. It does not feel good to me. And so, yes, I want to create things that people like, but I want it to first and foremost be for me. And so, I was getting to the point where I was creating to fulfill design team requirements, and that, it takes time. It takes your time, it takes your energy, it takes your creative energy. And it's not like we're getting paid for it. Free product is not really free product. Ain't none of this free. If we're getting something from a company, generally we are required to, in turn, pay with our time, essentially. And so I've made pennies per hour on a lot of products, and so I don't like that either. And so it's just gotten to the point where I want to share certain products, but I need it to be more on my terms. That's kind of hard. I'm not really sure why. It's just a matter of letting go of this. People are interested in my creativity. Like, I had to learn, and still am learning, something that already intellectually I know, that because someone likes, not just physically, taps the like button, but because someone likes what you created, doesn't mean that they like you. And the same as the opposite is true. The fact, like, if someone isn't in love with something that you created or something that you put out there, it doesn't mean that they don't like you. So the two are not related. And I think that at some point I began to get some sort of validation from creating things that people liked, that people were inspired by. And it's a weird kind of thing, because I do want to inspire people. I do want to show them different ways that they can use products, but I don't want to feel like my self-worth is attached to that. That is not a healthy way to think at all. One of the most important things for me to express to people is that everyone is creative. Everyone has different creative visions or creative abilities, talents, and all that good stuff. And it really hurts my heart. Like, sounds so flowery, but it's sad when somebody says I'm not creative. And it feels bad when I try to teach, a certain thing, like, this is how I use washi, this is how I create balance and use color and layout. And yeah, on the one hand, it's great that I'm teaching, but I don't want people to feel like you have to do it this way. It has to be this way, and that you're not creative if you don't produce the same kind of thing. So it's like I'm torn, because I want to teach and I want to inspire, but I don't want people to feel less than. Next thing, I don't know how many of you are gonna really relate to this. Okay, so what does it mean to be a planner girl? I very often feel like a planner person imposter. There are so many things that I don't do. I mean, I think that's a common thing where people we have these to-do lists and we just don't do the things. But it seems like in the planner community, it just seems like everyone's so just like, I wrote it down, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to check off my list. And there's this, we're glorifying this busy, and productive. And there's more emphasis on the quantity of time and the quantity of our productivity rather than the quality of it. And that is problematic for me. For one, I really like a leisure life. I'm not gonna lie, I don't like to feel like I have to be busy all the time. I like to make plans, and I can make them look very functional. I can make them look like I'm on it. I can make them look very pretty, but I am awful at following through with plans. Like, I've heard people say, oh, if I write it down in my planner, it has to happen. That is not me. If I write it down in my planner, there's a very good chance that I'm going to rebel against my planner, and I'm going to be like, I don't want to do it. But I feel like there's almost this, like, you've got to be busy if you're a planner person. And the reality is, hi buddy, there are so many different types of planner people. Obviously, I get that this is my hang up, but I hear a lot of times, well, isn't it all about productivity? And isn't having a planner all about, getting things done? No. Not necessarily. Sometimes having a planner is just having a planner and liking the planner. And it's fun. I don't know, because we're planner nerds and we like stationery and office supplies. But it doesn't necessarily mean you want to use it as a productivity tool. I think there's just a handful of you out there who will agree with me on this. We've moved way past that in the planner community. So, for a lot of us, we're still using it as a productivity tool. But, there's this, and again, this is my hang up, feelings, because I would fit into the creative planner arena. I sometimes feel like people who use their planners mostly for productivity look down on people who use it for creativity. And there's a bit of a hypocrisy, because it's like, where do you draw the line? If you are putting stickers in your planner, if you're making it super colorful, if you're doing fancy lettering, adding photos, if you're doing anything like that to decorative in any way, that's not what productivity is about. So I think we all need to be careful with how we use, and I myself, how we use functional planning, because your functional planning is not the same as the next person's functional planning. I feel like your planner is meant for whatever you want it to be, and that's okay, as long as you are clear on what that thing is and you're not lying to yourself. I mean, you can lie to other people if that makes you feel good, but don't be lying to yourself like, no, I have to have stickers in order to be. You don't. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't say that because I don't understand. I just don't see how someone needs stickers. I love some stickers, but I don't need them to plan. I remember I joined one of Michelle Baxter's creative planning Facebook groups or Facebook classes, and she at some point said, this planner is for creativity, and it's not about, function, something like that. And I was like, yes, my people. I mean, where are the rest of the people who are willing to admit that certain planners that they have and share are just for the fun of it? Like, what's wrong with saying, oh, it's just for the fun of it? It's just for memory keeping, or it's just because I want the creative outlet and has nothing to do with function. I feel like there's a place for all kinds of planner people, and I myself started to feel, some type of way about these things that people were saying, that I was like, hey, feeling defensive, I guess. But I'm putting it out there. I'm not really sure what I want to do with the plan. I'm not going anywhere per se. I don't know what I want it to be. I feel like I'm moving more towards journaling about, emotions, mental health, personal growth. There's gonna be planner stuff in there because that's still a part of my life. I just don't know how decorative I'm going to get. I have been falling back in love with my stickers and papery supplies a little bit. And so maybe I'll just let it come back gradually and not pressure myself to create, some masterpieces. I just want this to be about what matters to me. Growth matters to me. Integrity and authenticity matter to me. Being of some kind of service matters to me. And so whatever I do going forward has to fit in with all those things. And it's not to say that things didn't in some way fit in with those before, but I'm just more focused and more in tune with what matters to me at the core level. And so my actions have to reflect that, or I spiral down. That's one of my mental health triggers when I'm not living in alignment with my values. Things get messed up here, and so I have to, in order to feel good about myself and to feel whole. I know that all of that was super rambly. I have a crap ton of ambivalence right now, and not 100% clarity, but I felt like this was needed in order to move forward. And I hope that it benefited some of you. Let me know what your thoughts are, if you can relate to any of the things that I've talked about. So that's it, friends. Thank you so much for spending your time watching me, listening to me ramble. I really appreciate you, and I hope that you benefited from this in some kind of way. Definitely leave your thoughts down below. And as always, don't forget to come over to Instagram and say hi at Yes Please Planning. Bye-bye.